Jeez. Testing, testing. All right, Shalom is your Shalom Habashim Yahshua Brakatham to the brothers, Shalom Yahshua Bashim Yahshua to the sisters. We are the ISUPK Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General Yohana. Oops, I can get that. Slide it just one moment. Okay. Slakia, we've been teaching that all so-called blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people are the true Israelites of the Bible, and the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Now, today we're going to be talking about, as you can already probably tell from the title, abortion, and a little bit of culture and lineage erasure. Now, we've been at war with, the Edomites and other nations for centuries, thousands of years, right? And the thing is, it's only getting worse, right? If you are a so-called black, Hispanic, or indigenous man or woman, I pray that you get into the school, and I pray that you pray the downfall of your enemies, because we've been at war for a lot longer than you may think. Just because you go to your 9-to-5 job and you celebrate your pagan holidays, I'm about to bring that up in a second too. And you go hang out with your friends and you smoke your weed and you drink your alcohol and you think everything's all fine and dandy. It's really not. Your people are dying, your kids are dying, you understand? And the worst part about it is a lot of it is coming from you. Yes, I'm gonna say it. A lot of it is coming from our own people. The white man has gotten so good at killing us that we don't even need to do it anymore. It's like he doesn't need to do it anymore. We do it ourselves. All right. We have become a cancer to our own race. And you can thank the oppressor for that. But now it's time to get up out of that, right? I see all these memes and I see it all over the news and social media about this whole abortion movement, right? And now more than ever, they are trying so hard to push this agenda of it's your body, it's your choice. They push that on our women so much. But little do you know, this isn't the first time that they've tried to do this. They've just gotten more tactical with it now. They tried this before in Egypt. All right. Now, I'll give everybody just a quick moment to chime in. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. And I'll get on with the prayers. Just give everybody a moment to tune in. Let's see. Let's see. Shalom, Lord Christ. What's going on? What's going on? All right, so we're going to get started. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Now I'll get started with the prayers. So with that, just I'll give this one moment. All right, so with that, at my gym, just me up here. La Yasharala, which means to Israel. Amadyam Apon Yah Hakwadam, which means to stand and face the east. We'll begin started with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abba Nawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Quadash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakutka, Taba'ah, Batazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Latamanawa, Lakam, Kol, Yawam, Basalaknawa, Kabawatnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawatinawa, Wala'a, what's like it? Tabayanawa, Manasaiwan, Abal, Habashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Waha'ala, Wataparath, Laulamyam, Aman. Now in the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. This is Hakat, which is the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Babakasha, Latan Manawa, Hakat, Hakat, Rapa'ah, Kol, Bakala, Bokol, Matawa, Hakat, Hatahar, Ha, Matazariah, Hakat, Lahaquayim, Hamathim, Hakat, Ayel, Rakawaf, Tama'ala, Agar Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Thawada, Aman. Now in the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushai, thank you. So be it. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Wa Mayaka'ala, Wa Alahayim, Matzab Ya'ah, Alawap Yahana, Ha Alawapyim, Ha Saranyim, Ha Kwatazayoyim, Ha Kayayoyim, Wa Ha'akwathyim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Thawada, Aman. Now in the English. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yohanan, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you. So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Al, Haharim, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Izoria, Ma'ain, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'aratza, Ayatan, Mamawat, Regalka, Al, Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'at, Yanawam, Wala'at, Yayashun, Shawamar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yad, Yanimka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarak, Malayallah, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Athnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'athka, Obawa'athka, Maida, Wa'ai, Awalam. Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up my eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved, and he that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, All, Gamaya, Laka, All, Takarash, Wa'al, Ashakwat, All, Kaya, Hana, Awyabika, Yahama, Yawan, Ra'ash, Ayal, Amaka, Ya'ayamwa, Sawada, Waida, Tazawa, Ayal, Tazapawanyaka, Amarwa, Lakawa, Munakakidum, Magoya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Shum, Yasharala, Avda, Kaya, Natazawa, Laba, Yakarwa, Alika, Baryath, Yakarathwa, Aholia, Anawam, Wa, Yashama Alium, Mawa Abba, Wahagorium, Gabal, Wamawan, Wamalak, Palashaf, Amishabia, Tazawar, Gum, Ashawar, Nalawa, Imum, Hayawa, Zorawai, Labunya, Lawat, Salah, Aisha, Lahum, Kamudyam, Kasaya, Sara'ah, Kayabyan, Manakor, Koyashwan, Nasha Marwa, Bayan, Dara, Hayawa, Daman, La'adama, Shayadamwa, Nada, Yamawa, Kairab, because of Abba, because of Bat, because of Zor, Manai, Kol, Nasayakamwa, Ashar, Amorwa, Nayarasha, Lanawa, Af, Nawath, Alahayim, Alahayat, Shayadamwa, Kagogala, Kakwash, Lapunya, Raka'a, Ka'ash, Tabaira, Ya'ira, Wa, Kalahaba, Falahat, Aryam, Kun, Tharadama, Basairaka, Obasa, Wapatka, Tabahalam, Mala'a, Panyahum, Kuala1, Waya, Kakwashwa, Shemka, Yahweh, Yabashwa, Waya, Bahawa, Ayai, Waya, Kaparwa, Waya, Abadwa, Waya, Dayawa, Kaya, Atha, Shemka, Yahweh, Labaka, Alyawan, Alkal, Ha'aratazah. Now in the English, Psalms 83. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace. And be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make atonement, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also was joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like a red, and like Zaed. Yea, all their princes as Zabah, and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Lord, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. All right, so we're going to be starting out of the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 1 in the Hebrew. All right, so this is the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 1 in the Hebrew. Shemayatha, let's see, Wa'ala'a, Ya'ath, let's see, Yashara'al, yep, Salakia. Yasharala, Salakia. Let's see, Abba Yum, Mataza Ra Yam Af, Ya'ai Quab, Yaquab. Salakia, just one moment. We're reading out of Exodus chapter 1, verse 1 right now. So the topic today is going to be about abortions and whatnot. Let's go. Smack it. All right, so Exodus chapter 1. Let's see, what was that? Right here. Let's see. Ayash. Nabaya Thaya. Ba'an. Ra'aya Ba'an. Shama'ai Ya'an. Shama'ayan. Lawaya. Let's see. Ya. Let's see. Oh, Shemayawan Ya. Let's see. Yahawada. Shakar. Zabalan. Bayanyam. Dan. Waba Thalaya. Let's see. God. Let's see. Ashar. Let's see. Waya Aya. Ba'al. Napash. Yataza Aya. Ra'an. Ya'ai. Yaquab. Let's see. Shaba'ayam. Let's see. Napa'ash. Waya Yatab. Haya'a. Bamat. Let's see. Bamatazarayam. Let's see. Waya Ma'af. Waya Ta'ab. Let's see. Naba Yaba'al. Ya'an. Let's see. Yaba'al. Ha'adaya. Ya'a. Let's see. Yabanaya. Let's see. Yashada'o. Let's see. Yasha'al. Yasharala. Salakia. Hadaya. Let's see. Wayashad Ratazai Ra. Let's see. Waya Raba'a. Waya I Taza Ma'a. Bama'ad. Ma'ar. Watha Laya. La'a. Let's see. Hara'ai. A thumb. Waya Kwa'am. Mala'an. Kara'ash. Aisle. Matazarayim. Asha'ad. La Ra'ai Af. Wayata Pa. Wayata'ap. Waya Ma'ar. All. Amya. Hana'a. I'm. Banya. Yasharala. let's see, Ra'ab, Wa'ai Yum, Manya, Haba'a, let's see, Natha Kabamya, Laya, Pa'an, Wa Wara Ba'a, Waya Waya, Afkara Anya, Ma'al Ka Ma'ak, Wana Yata Ya'ab, Gum, Hara'a, I'll, Shana Naya, Wana Laqua'um, let's see, Banya, let's see, Banya, Wa'ai La'a, Man, Ara'ai. Okay, so that's it for the Hebrew. All right, so let's see. Matter of fact, I'll have you read out of it. You in Exodus right now?
Okay.
Start at Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. Baba Kasha.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel,
Okay, go ahead.
which came into Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Every man and his household came with Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Reuben,
Mm-hmm.
Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali,
Mhm.
Gad, and Asher.
Okay, so now, of course, these are the 12 tribes of Israel, right? Now, I know some people kind of get confused because people are like, well, where's Ephraim and Manasseh? Well, if you read later on, right, actually earlier in Genesis, I believe it's in Genesis, and the blessing was also given to Joseph's sons, who were Ephraim and Manasseh, who would be your so-called Puerto Ricans, Tainos, and Manasseh, who I believe would be the Cubans. So I'm trying to remember the tribes off the top of my head. But you can go ahead and continue.
Verse 5. And all the souls that came out of the lions of Jacob were 70 souls,
Mm-hmm.
for Joseph was in Egypt already.
Mm-hmm.
And Joseph died, and all his brethren and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly,
Right.
and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty,
Mm-hmm.
and the land was filled with them.
So it says that we waxed exceeding mightily. Like those of y'all who don't know, Ephraim, right? Ephraim actually means fruitful. There's a reason why I'm saying that. I'll cover that later on in class. But you can go ahead and continue.
Verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
Right. Go ahead.
And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
So now we have this king, right? The new king of Egypt, right? An Egyptian. And he's getting a little troubled because he sees all the children of Israel and our numbers are increasing, right? He doesn't like that. So let's read about what he does. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Come on, let us deal wisely with them.
It says, let us deal wisely with them. Go ahead.
Lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
So now here's the problem right here, right? So this is no different than what's going on today. This was an oppressor. All right, before America Amerigo Vespucci and all these other colonizers, before the Spaniards, before the Europeans, before the French and the Dutch and Portugal and all these other nations that came up against Israel, right? There was another, right? Egyptians, Pharaoh, you can read all about them, right? Now, here we have an Egyptian king who is getting a little troubled because he sees Israel, there's a lot of us, right? There's a lot of us, and it says, let us deal with them wisely, because he felt as if, okay, if these people continue to multiply in population, they're going to continue to grow and they're going to become a threat. Because what would happen if we got into a war? What would happen if these people were to join onto our enemies? Matter of fact, even worse, what if they turn against us? You want to know why the Egyptians felt like that? Is because they knew that they had their foot on our necks. You understand? They understood that we were, at the time, sadly, we were their servants. And nobody wants to be a servant. Nobody wants to be a servant to some God-forsaken nation. We're servants of the Most High, of course, but we don't really like serving heathens. Let's be realistic right now. How many of y'all like y'all slave? Let's keep it a buck right now. How many of y'all actually like y'all slave? Do y'all like working your little 9 to 5? Really? Do you like having an Edomite boss or a Moabite boss, right? Some foreigner telling you what to do. Some of y'all might have, a brother or a sister who's in charge of you, but realistically, let's keep it a buck. They're not really in charge of you. There's some white man or white woman who's over them, telling them to tell you what to do. So this isn't new. We've been in this position before, right? I forgot what book it was, but I was reading a book where it said that Negroes, so-called Negroes, right, served servile work in the time of when we were in captivity of the Egyptians. And that's outside the Bible for anybody that likes to say that, well, there's no way that a Negro could be an Israelite. There's so much history out there that's been attempted to be wiped out, but you see more and more children of Israel who are waking up and coming into the school as we speak, right? So just get all that garbage out of your head. But my point being is, he felt threatened. He felt threatened by the idea of Israel becoming a little too populous. So if I could, let's see. You continue reading. Go to verse 11.
Start at verse 11.
You can start at verse 11. Come.
Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. Verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
Keep going.
And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve the rigor.
Serve with rigor.
And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
So they were trying to make us, they were trying to afflict us, right? But Israel, I hate using this term, right? There's been times where, what's that word? Amayate, or they'd like to call Israel cockroaches. There's been plenty of times where oppressors have tried to refer to blacks and Hispanics as cockroaches, right? Here's the thing about a cockroach. They're hard to kill. They're very hard to kill. They've been trying to kill us for God knows how, right? But you can read right here that even though they were trying to afflict us, we were still multiplying. That's today. All these, I don't want to give it away yet. I'll get to that in a second. But the point being is, just like now, in the times of old, they were trying to get rid of us, failing. It was failing. They've been trying to kill us for so long. Think about how long our oppressors have been trying to kill us. Think about the Spaniards. Think about the Dutch and the French, right? Think about Portugal and the English and the British. Think about how much, and not just them. I'm not just talking about Edomites. There were, Muslims, Arabs. They had us in captivity too. All these other nations have tried to kill us, and somehow, in some way, we're still here. We're still here. We're hard to kill. You understand? But you can go ahead and keep reading. Start at verse 14.
Verse 14. Mm-hmm. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrews midwives.
Now, okay, this is the part I wanted to get to. So in the book of Exodus chapter 1, verse 15, it says, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, not the husbands, the wives. Let's see why they spoke to the wives. Go ahead.
Of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah.
Go ahead.
And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son.
If it be a what?
If it be a son.
Go ahead.
Then ye shall kill him.
If it be a son, ye shall kill him. Keep reading.
But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
So if it be a son, kill him. But if it be a woman, or it's like a daughter, keep it alive. Why do you think they did that? Don't you think that's odd? Don't you think that's odd? Like, why not just kill both? You don't want there to be any more Israelites, right? So just kill them both. Kill the son and the daughter. You see, here's the thing. Here's the thing that y'all not understanding. There's a lot of times when we speak about the Bible, right? We always talk about the father's seed. The father's seed, right? The lineage, not just with Israelites, it's anybody, whether you're a Moabite, Edomite, Amalekite, Ammonite, it doesn't matter. The father's lineage is always passed through the father's seed every single time. This is why we are so against, and why the Most High is against interracial marriages, because I brought this up many times. If you get a Puerto Rican woman, right, or Taína woman, right, Boricua, and she gets with a white man, that child physically might resemble their mother, but their spirit, their lineage, their bloodline is now cut off. They have taken after their father. Their father's a white man. That baby is going to be a white man or a white woman. Yes, they might, be a little tan. They might have a little fro because of their mother or whatever, but the lineage is cut off. See, here's the thing that a lot of people like to argue about. I bumped into so many arguments with people. They try to say, Negroes cannot possibly be Israelites because they share too many characteristics with Hamites. They like to argue phenotypes. There's three main phenotypes. You have the Caucasoid, the Negroid, and the Mongoloid. Show me in the Bible where God is concerned about phenotypes. If I wait here all day, me and the brother right here are going to lose our hair. All right. Nowhere in the Bible is it talking about a phenotype. All right. Here's the issue. We have mixed so many times. Matter of fact, drop that real quick. Give me Ezra, the book of Ezra, chapter 9, if I could. The book of Ezra, chapter 9, right? Because we're going to talk about how all the different ways that oppressors have tried to get rid of our lineage, right? So we'll get back to Exodus in a second, but I just want to bring up something. This is why the Most High is so against interracial marriages, right? So if you got it, the book of Ezra, chapter 9, and you can start right at verse 1.
The book of Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now when these things were done, the princess came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, doing according to their abominations.
Right.
Even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites.
So now we have all these other nations of people. Keep reading.
Verse 2. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the only seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Now,
key word, right? Holy seed, holy seed. We all know what holy means. Holy can be translated to sacred. It can also mean separate. Now, multiple times throughout the Bible, we are referred to as a holy people, a sacred or separate people. But now, this is during the time when we were at war with the Midianites. Moses was also involved, right? And at this time, the Most High was upset because we were mixing amongst the multitude with these heathen nations, right? Now, go ahead and keep reading.
Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers hath been chief in this trespass.
So it says they were chief in this what?
In this trespass.
In this trespass. This was a trespass against the Most High. Quick recap real quick. There was a plague. You can read it in, I believe, Numbers chapter 31, and you can also read it in the book of Numbers chapter 25. There was a plague that was going amongst the congregation, and nobody could understand why there was a plague amongst us. We ended up finding out that brothers were having sex with Moabite and Midianite women. We were having sex with other nations of women, and the Most High did not like that, hence the plague. Now, when Moses and Eleazar, when they found out, you want to know what Eleazar did? Eleazar took a javelin and speared it through a brother while he was having sex with some heathen woman in a tent. And guess what happened? The plague went away. The plague went away. Everybody's like, well, how'd the plague go away? Because of interracial marriage. That's why. All right. Now, matter of fact, drop that, right? Because that's talking about, the men of Israel having sex with the heathen women. But wait, the lineage isn't cut off, right? you know, those children would still be considered Israel because it's coming from the father's seed. I'm going to show you. Drop that real quick. Give me the book of John. Give me John 8:37. The book of John, chapter 8, verse 37. Because there's multiple times throughout the Bible, right, where the Most High shows you that he deals with the father's lineage. So you got it for me?
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and read it, Bakasha.
The book of John, chapter 8, verse 37.
Uh-huh.
I know that ye are Abraham's seed.
Abraham's seed, right? Not Sarah's seed, not Sarai's seed, Abraham's seed. Keep going.
But ye seek to kill me,
Mm-hmm.
because my word hath no place in you.
All right, now let's see. You can keep reading. Go ahead.
Verse 38. I speak that which I have seen with my father.
Our who?
With my father.
Does it say mother?
With my father.
Father. Keep going.
And ye do that which ye have seen with your father.
Father, popping up again. Keep going.
Then answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father.
Abraham is our father. You keep hearing the word father come up over and over and over again. Remember, multiple times throughout the Bible, you can go to, I believe it's Exodus 3 and 6, the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Remember, there were women involved, right? Abraham had a wife. Abraham had a wife. Isaac had a wife. Jacob, good night. Jacob had 4 wives. Does it say the God of Sarah, what is it? Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel, and Leah, and Zilpah, and Bilhah? And no, it doesn't say that. It says the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's always dealing with the father's seed. You understand? Let's see. Keep reading.
Yahweh saith unto them, If you were Abraham's children,
go ahead.
You would do the works of Abraham.
You would do the works of Abraham. Drop that real quick. We'll go through one more precept before we get back to Exodus. Give me the book of Tobit. The book of Tobit, chapter 4, verse 12. 4 and 12. All right? Because I want to show y'all something real quick. There's a lot of people like to think that, well, if you're mixed, you know, you can't possibly be an Israelite. They like to use phenotypes and color, and they try to use anything against you to tell you that you're not an Israelite. No, you are an Israelite by your father's lineage. A lot of people like to think, oh, well, it's just the black Hebrew Israelites. We not all dark in here. We're not all, quote unquote, black. You understand? We have so-called Puerto Ricans, Taino, Taina, Boricua, it's like a Boricua, all right, whatever you want to call yourself, right? Mexicans, we have Dominicans, Guatemalans, we have Brazilians, you understand? Haitians. We have all the tribes up in here. And last time I checked, we not all dark. You understand? Remember, we scattered. We scattered. You know, we mixed amongst the multitude multiple times. It actually says that about Ephraim, Hosea 7 and 8. Ephraim mixed amongst the multitude. You understand? And now Ephraim will be who? The so-called Puerto Ricans. And here's another thing. It's not just the Puerto Ricans. Remember, Judah and Ephraim can also be described as the territories of Israel. Judah had primarily had the dominant territory of the southern tribes. Remember, Benjamin was also in there too, and I believe Simeon. Ephraim had the other 10 tribes. You understand? So amongst that, you have who you would call today the Latinos or the Hispanics. And Hispanics can look like anybody. There's Puerto Ricans that look like me and this brother right here. Then you got Puerto Ricans who are extremely light-skinned. You got Puerto Ricans with blonde hair. You got Puerto Ricans with red hair, straight hair, afro, blue eyes, green eyes, freckles. I mean, Ephraim could look like anybody. You understand? The Most High is not concerned about your complexion. Yes, Hebrew Israelites are talked about in the Bible as ruddy or black or dark, or we've been called multiple different things. But in, I believe it's Jeremiah 12 and 9, it refers to us as a speckled bird. If you look into the Blue Letter Bible, one of the terms for speckled in that context was variegated. Variegated means something of many colors. You can't sit here and distinct an Israelite simply by the shade of their skin. There's Israelites in this school who some people might mistake them for a white boy or a white woman. But we know who your daddy is. We know that your daddy is a so-called African American. We know that he's a Haitian. We know that he's a Puerto Rican. We know who your father's seed is. All right. Not saying that the sisters aren't important. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying that the Most High deals with the father multiple times throughout the Bible. Now let's see. If I could, Tobit 4 and 12 real quick.
The book of Tobit, chapter 4, verse 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy father.
The seed of who? Go ahead.
And take a wife of the seed of thy father.
Take a wife of the seed of thy father. Meaning what? You don't be sleeping with any other women, right? Solomon, a lot of people like to say, well, Solomon sinned because he had multiple wives. No. First of all, if multiple wives was a sin, it wouldn't be laws in the Bible about it. There wouldn't be laws about it, right? You can look at it in Exodus, you can look at it in Leviticus. There's multiple brothers throughout the Bible who had multiple wives. And none of them sinned because they had multiple wives, but some of them sinned because they were sleeping with heathen women. Remember, I believe it was Nehemiah. Nehemiah said, did not Solomon sin for this? Because he was sleeping with what? Edomite women, Moabite women, Ammonite women, Hittite women, which would be his so-called Africans today. He had all these different strange wives. When you look into the Blue Letter Bible and you look up the term strange wife, it actually directly translates to foreign. A foreign woman, meaning she doesn't come from your seed. She doesn't come from your father's seed, Abraham's seed. Now, I know that might trip up some people, but wait, isn't Abraham the father of many nations? Doesn't he have other lineages? Yeah, he does. But notice how it says the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, specifically. Just that. You understand? Now, let's see. You could drop that real quick. Let's get back to Exodus, right? Let's get back to Exodus, and let's see. You could start at Exodus 1 and 17. Just let me know when you get there. So just a quick recap. We already read about how in Exodus, right, they wanted to kill off the sons, but they wanted to keep the wives. Now, I just broke down why. Because the son, the father, the husband, he's the one that passes on the lineage. The daughter doesn't. And the oppressor loves our women. And when I say love, I don't mean that in a kind and tender way. No, he likes to assault our women. He likes to take advantage of our women. He likes to rape our women and do all types of disgusting, vile things. Remember, it's not the first time they did it. When they came to the Americas, what did they do? They killed off all the Indian men, right? Or so like I'll say native, because I know some brothers don't like to be called Indian. Native men. But what did they do with the women? Oh, they kept them. Oh, they kept them. They kept the women, right? Did the same thing to the Negroes. They love to kill off the brothers. Oh, but they were having a good old time with our women, keeping them in the house, having orgies and whatnot. And sisters, they didn't really have a choice. They just had to do it. Otherwise, they would just die, right? Or worse, they would kill somebody that they loved. You understand? So they always wanted to keep our women, and that's in the Bible. They always want to keep the women, but they'll kill off the men because they know once they put their seed in our women, it doesn't matter what our woman is. That's it. That child is now an Egyptian. That child is now an Ammonite. That child is now a Moabite. That child is now an Edomite. Doesn't matter who your mother is. So you can go ahead. The book of Exodus chapter 1. Let's start at 17.
Book of Exodus chapter 1, verse 17.
Go ahead.
But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. Verse 18. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive?
So now he's like, wait a minute, didn't I tell you to kill off all the boys? But see, these were righteous women, you understand? These were righteous sisters. They said, screw you. These are our children. We need to keep our lineage going. We're not going to obey you. So they kept the sons alive. Keep reading.
And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women.
Hold up. Now it says the Hebrew women are what?
The Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women.
Right. So see, again, a difference between the Hebrew women and the Egyptian women. Again, just showing you, hinting that even though we may look similar, we are of a different people. Remember, Moses was mistaken as an Egyptian. They didn't even know he was a Hebrew until later, right? Who was it? Esther, in the book of Esther, right? She was a Benjamite. She was a Hebrew. and realized nobody knew that she was a Hebrew, but she was living amongst the Persians and the Medes, and there were other nations there too, right? Nobody knew who she was. They just thought, okay, she's she's a woman living in the time right now, and she was very beautiful, right? I believe it was Ahasuerus. Ahasuerus, he liked her. He was like, damn, she's one of the baddest ones here. I want her, right? And it wasn't revealed that she was a Hebrew Israelite until later on. And she was afraid at first because she knew the risk of what would happen if she revealed who she was. But she loved her people so much, and she listened to her uncle, Mordecai, who was also a Hebrew Israelite, and she saved her people from being lynched. You understand? But my whole point being is, again, it doesn't matter what your shade is. God is not concerned about your shade. It doesn't matter if you're dark. It doesn't matter if you're light. And let's just say, hypothetically speaking, right? Let's say, hypothetically speaking, that we did have a certain shade back then. Let's just throw it out there. Let's say all the Hebrew Israelites were ruddy at one point. Light brown, super light skin. Let's just say that's what it was. It's not, but let's just say it is. Didn't Moses have an Ethiopian wife? Didn't Solomon have 700 wives and 300 concubines? And it literally says that he was sleeping with heathen women, strange women. There's been multiple times in the Bible that we've taken wives of other nations, right? Wasn't Samson messing with a Philistine woman, right? My point being is, because of all the mixing that we did, now you got brothers and sisters that can look like anyone. Even Judites. Everybody likes to think, well, all Judites look the same. That's actually not true. I know we get on Ephraim a lot, but Judah ain't no different. All right, I'm Judah. What's your tribe? Judah, right? Now we look like stereotypical Judites, dark skin, Afro. There's no mistaking that we're Judah. But then you got Judites who are very, very light skinned. Their hair is a little looser. They don't have 4C hair, right? But they like to say, oh, you're mixed. You're mixed. Well, yeah, we are mixed, actually. If you really want to break it down to genetics and science, yeah, we are mixed. But we all share the same forefather, right? Just because you light skinned don't mean that you're automatically mixed. I've seen sisters who, I'm talking about their whole family black. Whole family, Judah. Probably got, a couple different tribes in there, but whole family dark. Not one white boy or one white woman in sight, but they're light skinned. And they'll tell you, like, they'll do the DNA test and everything, saying, nah, that's another thing I wanted to bring up too. A lot of people, let's see, my people are like the speckled Most High in Christ. Shalom says, what's going on? My point being is, they like to bring up the DNA test. Oh my goodness, trust me, you're gonna bump. I've been bumping to this all week. They'll tell you, no, you're an African because your ancestors came from Africa. Did you know that there were Israelites in Africa and they traveled to West Africa and were sold off of slave ships? So if you want to say that I'm Nigerian, well, there were Hebrew Israelites on West Africa, and look where Nigeria is. And where were black slaves sold from? West Africa. So you didn't really debunk anything. I'm sorry to tell you that. All right. But the thing was with DNA, I've actually talked to a couple brothers about this. DNA is very good for tracing back family, like family relatives, finding out who your father is, your mother is, and whatnot, kids, stuff like that, like relatives. It's also good for murder cases. Of course, the FBI, police uses it a lot. The thing is, when it comes to a lineage, though, it'll just give you a location. It'll say, oh, you're Taino, you're Nigerian, you're African, you're Sub-Saharan African, you're Asian. Well, the thing is, there's all different nations of people that live there. So what are you really saying? Also, to debunk that, there's been multiple times where it's been reported that those DNA tests, when it traces back your lineage, it's fake. They can tell you whatever they want. One of the largest, matter of fact, what's his name? Slack here. There's one, he owns Ancestry DNA, and it's a white man. I'm trying to see if I can find him real quick. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. Let's see. It's something Schwartzman, Slovakia. I can't think of it right now. But long story short, it's an Edomite man. You think he about to sit here and tell you, yeah, you're a Hebrew Israelite? Somebody tell me where on the face of the planet are you going to go get a DNA test anywhere that says you're from the tribe of Judah? Nowhere. It doesn't exist. They're like, oh, well, you have to say that you're Jewish. If a Jewish person goes somewhere, you think it's going to tell them, yeah, you're from the tribe of Issachar. No. There's no way in hell they're about to sit here and tell you who the hell you are. That's cap. Salakia. Like, there's no way they're going to tell you who you are, right? They just give you a location, right? There were Israelites in Egypt. There's Israelites in the Americas. There's Israelites that were in the Caribbean islands. They just give you the location. That's all they do. They're not telling you who you really are. And for all you black folk out there who swear you're African, okay, tell me what tribe you come from then. I'll wait. I want to know what tribe you come from. You come from the Igbo tribe? Is that where you come from? Some of us did intermix with the Igbo tribe, so some of them are Israelites, but not all of them are Israelites. Some of those are Hamites, right? It's too confusing, and this is why the Most High did not want us intermixing with other nations, because it's culture erasure. You understand? This is why, because now we live in a time where, damn, anybody could be an Israelite now. You can't go off of phenotypes and looks and hair texture. There's brothers that I'm cool with who look nothing like me. Nothing like me. But I know that we share the same forefather. So he's my brother. There's sisters, I mean, good night. You can find a Brazilian woman that might look like a Judite woman, but then you find a Judite woman who looks like an Ephraimite woman, and so on and so forth. You might bump into an Ephraimite that might look Asian. She just might look Asian. Her foremothers might have been Japanese or something. Who knows? But that daddy, Jacob, she's a Jake. All right? You can't do that. You can't do that, right? Now it's confusing. Now they tell you you're mixed or you're mulatto. And they love to use that. You're I heard this one before. This is a new one. You're triracial. You're triracial. I'm like, okay, y'all just making up stuff now. So fuck you. My point being is, this is one of the tactics that our oppressors have used to get rid of our lineage, right? So now let's see. Go read Exodus chapter 1, verse 20, if I could, Buck the show. Let's see. You read that one already. You can go to 20.
Verse 20. Therefore, God dealt well with the midwives,
right?
And the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save. You shall save alive.
Right. So now again, still trying to enforce keep the woman alive, but kill the son, right? So this is just one way that they have tried to eliminate us, right? Just get rid of the father altogether. Get rid of the boy, right? They did it in slavery, you understand? But there's other ways they've tried to do it. You already know what I'm about to talk about. I have it in the title if you haven't read it already. Abortion. That's the big one. Abortion is plaguing our people, man, especially our women. It's my body, it's my choice. They try to push. You know what's crazy? They'll try to tell you that baby, that fetus, that embryo has to reach a certain stage throughout the months to be considered a human life. But the same people, who is it, NASA? NASA will call a speck of an organism on Mars a living organism. So that's life, but a baby that's going to turn into a child, turn to an adult one day, that's not life. A brother brought this up earlier. If you kill a woman, what is that? What you got?
Murder? Homicide?
What's the second one you just said?
Homicide.
Homicide. Now, what happens if you kill a pregnant woman?
Double homicide. Double
homicide. Why? Because that baby that's in her is counted as a second life. Y'all ever heard that term? Well, she's eating for two now. That's because there's a baby in her. There's life inside of that woman. Now they are pushing that abortion so heavy. And if I could, I'm gonna talk about it real quick, right? So now it's not, you know, a stranger to anybody, right? We already know about Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger, we already know, if you don't know, she was a white woman who was in charge of enforcing. Nah, I won't say she was in charge, but she heavily influenced abortion clinics because she didn't want it to go out. This is history, by the way. She did not want to know that she did not want others to know that she was trying to exterminate the Negro population. That was the whole point of abortion. Abortion was targeted towards so-called black African American or Negroes, right? Because they wanted to kill us. Why do you think predominantly these abortion clinics, clinics, are placed in our neighborhoods? Because they want our women to get an abortion. That's why they tell our women, oh, it's your body, it's your choice. That's why they raise up young men, right? Young African American men or black men to be weak, right? They tell you, oh yeah, you can have sex with this woman, that woman, blah 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 blah, whatever. But then once you got a child on the way, I gotta be a father. I gotta take responsibility for my actions. Oh no, we can't do that. We can't do that. Hey, baby, get an abortion. Brothers do it too. I trust me. I have seen it. I personally, when I was in the world, known of brothers that have told their girlfriends or their wives really to get an abortion because they were not ready to be a damn father. And what did she say? Oh, okay, babe. And you want to know what happened? Yeah, she got that abortion. And you want to know what happened? Woman started having nightmares. Look, I'll share something personal with y'all, right? I personally have seen this. Brothers have come to me talking to me about how, man, I don't know if I should have did that, man. You know, my girl, she tripping. You know, she started having nightmares, right? She's shaking in the shower. You know what I'm saying? Like what is it? She's hearing voices in her head, right? She's thinking about suicide. You want to know what that is? That's called regret. Because somewhere deep down in his spirit, she knew that she was carrying a soul inside of her. There was a baby inside of her. You're supposed to be taking pictures with your baby, teaching them how to tie their shoes, teaching them their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, you know, bringing them to school, and you really should be bringing them into this school, Slovakia. But you were supposed to have all that. You know, you see how happy a lot of parents are, black and Hispanic parents are when they have a child. We celebrate it all the time, especially here in the UPK. Every time a child is born, we celebrate it. We got another Hebrew here, Most High in Christ. Somewhere in your spirit, you knew that, but you killed your child. Now you're facing regret. Now, the women who get an abortion are statistically at a higher rate of suicide. Oh, and that abortion that you got, you don't realize it, sis, but your body is changing when you're pregnant, right? When you get that abortion, you're at a higher risk for breast cancer. And that's not coming from me. Go talk to your doctor. Go talk to your nurse. They'll tell you this, right? So now they're not just killing the baby, they're killing you. Because they're trying to control the population. They want you dead. That's what they want. That's why they push it on our women so much. Because now you have a whole bunch of sisters out here, just like how I got on the brothers real quick. I'm gonna get on the sisters too. You got all these sisters out here who want to have a hot girl summer. They want to go out here and shake their behind for everybody, have sex with this man and Tyrone and Jamal and Rico and Sanchez and whoever, right? You want to get your back blown out all the damn time, but you don't want to be a mother? Now sisters are brought up to believe in this. If I have a child, it's going to hinder my career. Oh, I'm sorry. Your job is more important than your child? Because last time I checked, your job can fire you. You don't run that company. You work for somebody. You pay taxes to somebody. They can fire you at any time, but yeah, they want a 2 weeks notice from you whenever you want to quit. But your child is your child forever. Nothing can change that. Your child could travel to the other end of the earth. I could have a son, and in 18 years, he could move to Japan and open up a school in Japan for Hebrew Israelites. You think that makes him not my son no more? That's my son. That's my son, regardless. That's my seed right there. And nothing, no genetic mutation or whatever is ever going to change that. But you could lose your job. You could lose your job, sis. You could be broke tomorrow. A lot of y'all living paycheck to paycheck. Hey, look, I'll admit it. I'll tell you right now, right? I ain't got no shame in my game, right? My point being is you're killing your people. Stop letting these oppressors get in your head. You damn right, so I'll F that job. For real, for real. We'll find a new one tomorrow. Who cares, right? Most High got us. My point being is you killing that child, sis. You killing that child, Ak. All right, be a father. I know it's hard, but look what these sisters did in the time of Egypt. They were told by Pharaoh to kill their kids. They still refused. So what excuse do you got? We got strong sisters right here. Would you want to be a weak man? Don't let the sisters show you up now. I'm just saying, right? And if you don't believe me, I'm about to read off a couple of things real quick, right? Read off a couple of things. So now, right, we're going to read, let's see. There's actually an article, right, of historic events in America, in the Americas, where they tried to sterilize our sisters. And it wasn't just black women. Everybody just thinks it's just black women. Oh no, our Latina sisters as well. Oh, they tried to get you too. I'm going to read it. So it says the sterilization of Latinas has been practiced in the United States on women of different Latin American identities, including those from Puerto Rico and Mexico. There is a significant history of such sterilization practices being conducted involuntarily in a coerced or forced manner, as well as in more subtle forms such as that of constrained choice. Forced sterilization was permissible by multiple states throughout various periods in the 20th century. Issues of state sterilization have persisted as recently as September 2020. Some sources credit the practice to theories of racial eugenics. If I could, shout out to priest and also Malakma of the tribe of Issachar, right? So-called Mexicans, because he brought this out, and this was real heavy yesterday. If he doesn't mind, real quick, I'm gonna go a little over that, right? So now let's stop for a second. If you could you look up eugenics for me? Eugenics is E-U and then just genics, G-E-N-I-C-S.
I'll read the definition.
Yeah, if you could, go ahead.
Definition of eugenics. The study of how to arrange reproduction within a human population.
So arrange reproduction in a human population, go ahead.
To increase the occurrence of heritable characteristics regarded as desirable.
So inherited characteristics as regarded as desirable. So now earlier I read some sources credit the practice of theories of racial eugenics. So this is the study of, I guess you could call it in the sense of genetic mutation in a sense. They've tried this before to make characteristics that are more desirable. What's very desirable in the Americas? Light skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, right? And they embed that same mentality in our brothers and sisters today. That's why you see a lot of light skin versus dark skin. You know, the Willie Lynch letters, that still goes on to this day. Still goes on to this day. And it's not just black people. Hispanics do it all the time. You know, I see Mexican brothers and sisters, right? It'd be a dark-skinned Mexican brother. They call him Moreno. You know, Moreno, you know, is just a darker-skinned Mexican. I've heard the term dirty Mexican, right? This is coming from other Mexicans. And I'm like, damn, well, why he got to be dirty? Because he dark? Because she's dark? Because it's believed that all Mexicans are super light-skinned. But when you go to Mexico, you find out, no, that's not true at all. A lot of our Issachar brothers and sisters are actually of a darker skin tone, right? You see that with Puerto Ricans, right? You know, a lot of Puerto Ricans, they try to make it seem like, okay, they're all light-skinned or they're white. Well, that's not true. There's Puerto Ricans that look like me. There's Puerto Ricans that are darker than me. There's Puerto Ricans that are lighter than me, right? And then who do they favor more usually in America? They like our lighter-skinned sisters. Now, just so we're clear, absolutely no disrespect for our lighter-skinned sisters, right? You're all beautiful. My point being is they try to push this racial agenda to divide us. If you're the whiter you are, the better you are. But if you're dark, it's like, yeah, we don't really like that, right? And you see the racial tension between so-called blacks and Hispanics. You know, you see a lot of darker skinned brothers who do not take ownership of our lighter skinned brothers and sisters because they think, oh, you're the white man.
you're a Spaniard, you're European, you're not one of us, you're whitewashed, you're not us. And I be seeing a lot of sisters and brothers that be hurt. They be like, damn, I thought we was the same. I thought we was kinfolk. And they feel ostracized. And vice versa, of course. Lighter skinned brothers and sisters who, oh no, you're dark, you're dirty. I'm better than you because I'm light skinned. They implant that in our heads. You understand? So that was the study of the eugenics, right? Another way to turn us against one another, right? But I'm gonna keep reading. So this is the California Sterilization Law. This law passed in California in 1909 authorized medical staff like doctors and medical superintendents to perform sterilization procedures on both men and women. So it wasn't even just the women, right? Let's see. Both men and women deemed as feeble-minded, whose mental diseases, IQ, and intelligence could be passed down to future generations. So they're already trying to label so-called blacks and the Hispanics as being feeble-minded. You understand? Now they're trying to alter our genetics with sterilization. They don't want you having kids. That's my whole point. They don't want you having kids. Now they're using, oh, well, you're feeble-minded and you're weak. So we don't want your intelligence to be passed down to your kid. So we're just going to make it to where you're sterile and you can't have a kid at all. That's evil as hell. You understand? Right? But let's keep going real quick. Now, this is the one I really wanted to touch on. Puerto Rican women. Now, there's always been this running joke, especially where I'm from on the East Coast, right? Remember how I brought up earlier, for those of y'all who've been paying attention, I said Ephraim means fruitful. Didn't the Lord say be fruitful and multiply? Well, Ephraim, especially Puerto Rican women, have this stereotype about them. That, you get with a Puerto Rican woman, she could push out like, 10 to 15 kids. And guess what? It's true. And that ain't nothing, that ain't no disrespect. That ain't no, we're trying to make fun of our Puerto Rican sisters. No, that's a beautiful thing that you are able to produce life into this world, sis. Take pride in that, because the white woman can't do that. She push out 3 kids, she start hurting. All right. I'm just keeping it real with you, right? They wish they could do that. But let's read about Puerto Rican women. The tragic history of sterilizations in the United States and Puerto Rico can be defined as an intersectional form of oppression that connects race, class, and sex to the social, political, and economic status of Puerto Ricans. The oppressive nature of these procedures lie within the fact that they were politically backed and used within the court of law against Puerto Ricans. Other women on the island experienced an increase in surveillance and control of their body within social realms. This illustrates how sterilizations were conducted on a continuum and had vast as well as long-lasting consequences. In 1947, 7% of mothers aged between 20 and 49 received tubal ligation, which almost doubled in 1954 as sterilizations increased on the island to 16%. By 1965, over 34% of Puerto Rican women within this age bracket received sterilization, which is 5 times the rate 2 decades prior. They're literally trying to make it to where Puerto Rican women could not have kids, because you push them out too good, sis. They didn't like that, just like how they didn't like it in Egypt. But hold on now, it's not just the tribe of Ephraim, right? Let's see what it has to say about Mexican women. Mexican women. Matter of fact, let me get back to it real quick. And then I'll end it with this, right? Go right here. And it says, let's see. Where are you? Okay, Mexican women. Immigrants of Mexican citizens in the United States caused such controversy in how well they had adjusted to the American life and culture. Because of this, starting in the early 20th century, they were deemed as a significant problem to the community. So apparently Mexican women having children is a problem in the Americas, right? Let's see. to the community as they were believed to be mentally weak due to their prolonged adjustment to the American culture. So now they're saying that Mexican women are mentally weak. The increase of city populations also led to the belief that mental health degraded as more mental breakdowns seemed prevalent. This discrimination against Mexican and Mexican Americans led to eugenics laws in which women were targeted and utilized in sterilization procedures. Let's go back to 1909. Starting in the year 1909, women of Mexican descent were used as targets for the eugenics movement to reinforce population control and purity. So now you mean to tell me not only were they trying to push sterilization, sis, they are trying to alter your genetics. That's not coming from me. That's not a conspiracy theory. They're putting it right out here for you, right? That's why you see in the Americas, a lot of people think, well, all Mexicans are light-skinned. They're all white. No, they're not. No, they're not. You go to Mexico. You'll find a Mexican that look like me and this brother. Believe it or not. I haven't been to Mexico, but I follow some people on TikTok, and it's one Mexican brother on there, right? He's not in the school, but he was diving deep into the history. And he was showing all these Mexican indigenous people in Mexico, and I'm talking about they dark. And when you call them negro or negrito, they don't even get offended. One of them, they said, why would I get offended if you calling me a negro? That's my color. I'm black. I'm dark. I'm like, but then you come to the Americas, call a Mexican person black, and they be, what? No, I'm not. I'm not a negrito. I'm not African. Just because you're black doesn't mean you're African, right? Black actually translates to dark skin. So if you really want to be technical, anybody can be black, realistically. It just means dark skin. There's other people on the planet who have dark skin and have absolutely no contact or any ancestry with Africa. I met Polynesians who are darker than me. Samoans, Tongan, right? The Aboriginals of Australia, they're not from Africa, but they have dark skin, right? So let's see. I'll keep going real quick. Let's see. Women of all ages were victims of the many sterilization acts performed in hospitals, correction facilities, and asylums. But younger women were especially targeted. Of course they were, because they're younger, so they can produce children at a much higher rate when they're younger. Pacific Colony, later known as Lantermin Developmental Center, a home designated for the mentally defective in LA, California, took in many young women and classified them as mentally defective. So they were classifying Mexican women as mentally defective and sexually delinquent, started in 1944. According to the laws in California justifying sterilization acts, staff at this clinic deemed it was in the best interest of society, the best interest of society to go forth with the procedure on some of the women who were sent there. And now here's the big one I wanted to get to. These Mexican and Mexican American women were given the stereotype as hyper-fertile and were believed to lack the knowledge of birth control methods due to the high numbers of teen pregnancies occurring within their community. So not only did they try to call you defective, they're trying to call you, this is where that stereotype comes from for Latina women, right? You having too many kids is a threat. It's a threat to America. It's a threat to your oppressors, sis. So if you really hate the white man like you say you do, have that baby. Have that baby. Push them kids out. Have 5 kids. Have 10 kids. However many you want, right? Because they hate you for it. You want to trigger the white man? Have a kid. Have a baby. Have 5, right? They hate it. The idea of a large Hispanic or black family is threatening to them, just like in the times of Egypt, just like back then. That's why they push abortion on you so much. Because the thing is, they know if they just go out and start, slaughtering us, it's going to cause a problem, right? So find a better way to do it. Get us to slaughter our own, right? They've come up with all different types of tactics. All different types of tactics. You got brothers out here gang banging, killing each other, shooting each other, fighting each other, whatnot. And then abortion. Birth control was already one, but abortion, really think about what you're doing. You're not just taking that kid's life, but some of these brothers out here really want to be a father. But they push that, well, it's my body, it's my body, it's my choice. As soon as you put that sperm inside of me, now I'm in control. And you kill that baby. You don't know what that does mentally, not just to the man, but you. Trust me, like I said, I have experienced, not me, like I've gone through something with abortion or not. I'm saying I've seen other brothers and other sisters that I was very close with at one time. And I've seen the mental damage that it does to them once that abortion goes through. They question their whole sanity. I know brothers who don't even speak to me no more, and they're still like, man, should I have done that? Am I a good father? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have did that. And they question it every single day. Because every day you wake up, you're gonna think, man, I'm supposed to be having a little boy running around. I'm supposed to be braiding my daughter's hair right now. But I'm not, because I got an abortion. Or I made my woman get an abortion. You think about that next time. All right. So if you really hate the white man that much, have that baby. Because here in the ISUPK and Command and General Yohana, we are pro-life. We are pro-choice. You understand? And God is pro-life. You take away that baby, you take away your whole lineage. So that's it on that. You understand? That's all I got. So if anybody had any questions, I don't think anybody had any questions. That I'm gonna end the class. Most High in Christ, everybody that tuned in. I see you, Sawat. What you got, Ak?
So, about how you saying that we were sold out of Africa, which is, but isn't Egypt in Africa? So,
right. So this is where a lot of people get tripped up. If I could, real quick, Ak. So during the time when we were at war with, when we were facing Roman persecution, right? The Romans actually took territory in Northeast Africa. So Northeast Africa, Egypt's right there. Judah, is like farther down. They're right next to each other. So some people will say that, well, if you were running from Roman persecution, why would you flee to Africa? Because the Europeans or the Romans, they owned that territory at the time. Here's what they missed. Just trust me, somebody's tried this on me before and I had to deal with that. They didn't own the territory of West Africa. They weren't over there. So we had to flee. Now, of course, not every single Israelite fled to Africa. We got the other 10 tribes. That's why they say the 10 lost tribes. So you can flee otherwhere else. We're scattered, all over the place. But West Africa, there was no Roman rulership. So we fled over there. That's why, that's why I was bringing up how a lot of brothers, not brothers and sisters, but a lot of people will say, well, you have African ancestry. The truth is, yeah, Israelites, even in the Bible, we intermixed with so-called Africans. So, yeah, you probably got an African foremother somewhere. So what? You're an Israelite by your father's lineage, right? Because think about it like this, if me and you were really Hamites, do you think the Lord would allow us to be in here right now? Wow. Trust me, I'm pretty sure you might have seen it as well. There's been heathens who have tried to come into the school, and they always get weeded out. Ain't no way in hell that the Most High is about to make a Hamite a priest. Ain't no way. The Most High would not let you be in here if you were somebody of another nation. Right. Trust me on that one. So I don't give a damn what anybody says. You a brother. You're from the tribe of Judah, just like me, regardless of your shade or the texture of your hair. Right? Just because you might share some characteristics physically with another nation, well, that's already been debunked because in the Bible, we already intermixed with other nations. So you got Judites that look like me and you, and you got Judites that look damn near white. Right. You got Judites that look like Puerto Ricans. Doesn't matter. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. So let me see. I think that's everybody. All right, so with that, I'm gonna end the class. Right. The water for everybody that tuned in. Speed this up. I actually gotta go. Let me see. Share this post. Oh, actually, we don't have Ken. That's crazy. So I just rushed this class for no reason. We have to water everybody that tuned in. And was there anything else I wanted to bring up before I close the class? Oh yeah, one more thing, if I could, real quick. Get your ass in class. Salakia. Like, I'm tired of this. Like, I see a lot of brothers and sisters out there, you know, and that's cool that you know that you're an Israelite. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Before I close the class, it's a little off topic, but I got time today. All right. If I could, what's your favorite rapper?
I don't like rap.
You don't like rap?
No.
For real?
No.
What you like? It's like whatever sounds good.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of. What do you listen to mostly?
Al Green.
Al Green?
A lot. Stevie Wonder.
Stevie. Oh, okay. Damn, all right. Shoot. Brother got good taste. Okay. So if I could real quick, I'll just share with everybody. I'm a stereotypical Judite. I love rap. I specifically like old school rap, you know, like more the boom bap, East Coast, New York style, Slovakia, East Coast got the best music. I know I live out on the West Coast, but I'm an East Coast dude, Slovakia.